Hey, beautiful people. I'm your host, Chermelin, and you're listening to Between the Lines, a podcast that goes beneath the surface. Were you ever in a spot where life was good, but then out of nowhere, your world comes crashing down? Have you ever experienced this? My friend Aidan has, and for the last episode of Flower Edition Volume 1, we got Aidan Wu, who will be sharing how God has been his personal rescuer.
A few years ago, I came to the States, and that was in 2012. It's my 15th year of living, and I came from a city on the other side of the world, in Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, and the life that I had back then was marvelous, to say the least. I had a great, not only number, but close friends that I loved and I still love today. I treated them as my blood brothers. I went to an all-boys school. I didn't have any blood brothers, so they were mine. And I was participating in many different activities, sports, music, and academically I was at a decent school, top 3 if not top 5 in the city, and the future was bright, the present was enjoyable, and when I came to the States, it was as if everything just was destroyed. The life that I knew that I had, the life that I was going to have, that I thought would be very prosperous in the future with fortune and wealth and happiness, was just completely gone. And the loss took me to a point of hopelessness, of depression, just not knowing where to go, why I'm in this foreign country. And knowing the story of Joseph in the Bible, it's sort of similar how he was in his hometown and he was thrown into a pit, and though he grew up with brothers, he was separated from them, and he was enslaved to a foreign country in Egypt, a foreign land, and then he was thrown in prison. But by God's grace, not only was he rescued from the prison, God was there all the time. He was used for his glory. At the end, he was able to save the entire nation and surrounding people, including his own brothers, back home from a huge famine that was in the land. And so similarly, I was in a pit of depression. I had a bunch of suicidal thoughts. I was just done. One day I was at school. I went to a Christian school, believe it or not, and God used a classmate of mine when he shared his story of how he was going through a rough time, and he was losing a lot of hope in his life. And when he made the decision to end it all at the very last minute, he got a phone call. And long story short, God used that to save his life. And when I heard that night, it was as if God was giving me a direct phone call. As much as I ridiculed him, I did not want him in my life. I thought before that if there was a God, then he wouldn't be interested, that he didn't really care. Why would he allow something like this to happen? What I did not know was that he was there all this time, just like he was with Joseph, in the prison, in the foreign land, while he was a slave. I was enslaved to many different addictions of pornography, video games. I resorted to the use of drugs to get myself high, to run away from my reality of pain and suffering. Yet the true reality was that God was always there. Hope was always there. And God amazingly turned me from being a downcast, distraught, full of sin, to one that decided, yes, I'm going to give my life to him. And he started using me. He He used me and he shared with others through me his grace, his mercy, just like he used Joseph to save people in famine. He used me to save people in spiritual, mental, and emotional famine in this land. So I'm thankful for how God has been a rescuer in my life, and I know that He can save anyone that will respond to Him.
Revelation 3:20 shows that Jesus is knocking on the doors of our hearts today. He is standing there, calling your name, ready for you to answer Him. Just like Aidan, will you respond to Christ's call? This episode concludes our first volume of the Flower Edition. I want to give a huge thanks to everyone who came on as a guest, those who helped with the music and designs, and also for all your engaging support. Stay tuned for more videos, but until then, keep looking at the flowers. Though the world may be turning upside down and always changing, remember that God's goodness is constant.